I've been waiting to do this one for a long time. Dangle, this one's for you. Avs win over the Toronto Maple Leafs 4-3 in overtime. Avs come out in the first period in this one, and they look good. There was a bit of sloppiness with the puck. They were juggling it a bit and couldn't find consistent pressure because of it, but they were limiting the Leafs to virtually nothing. About 6 minutes in, the Avs would get a power play. They would do absolutely nothing with it, but it wouldn't change the tide of momentum. In fact, through the first 13 minutes of the period, the Avs would only give up 2 shot attempts to Toronto. That's pretty much perfect defensive play. Today's battle of first overall picks was Nathan MacKinnon versus Austin Matthews, and I think it's safe to say MacKinnon won this one by a landslide. With the consistent pressure from the Avalanche, the top line finally breaks Toronto a bit after the halfway mark of the first. The puck gets lobbed to the neutral zone by Toronto and then ends up bouncing into the Avs zone. As it does so, Austin Matthews is trying to control it, but Landeskog does a great job coming back on the back check and taking it away clean. From there, he turns up ice, gets the red line, and throws it in. And you'll see here, one Toronto defenseman is already across the blue line here, and a second one is at worst even with MacKinnon at this point. So it's a race for this puck as Calvin Pickard bobbles the rebound, and MacKinnon wins it cleanly. Even with a dive, he can't be beaten out to this puck. He then just takes Pickard's jock and throws it into the stands. Landeskog doing the defense, MacKinnon doing the offense, and Calvin Pickard is the exact same goalie he was when Vegas took him from us. And that isn't to say I don't like Pickard. I love the guy, but he has a tendency to give up some softies. So the Avs take a 1-0 lead, and through the first 14 minutes and 50 seconds of this game, it's about as good as you can get. We don't really expect quality defensive play for entire periods, let alone a few minutes from the Avs, but up to that point it was. Of course, at 14 minutes and 55 seconds, it was not. It's 3-on-3 up the ice here. Levo has the puck for Toronto along the far boards. He's just going to dump it in up past Zadorov, and it's going to go all the way down deep into the Avalanche zone. Unfortunately, Lindholm doesn't quite read it correctly and thinks Martin is close enough to play this puck at roughly the blue line here. He's not, so it skids all the way down, and Lindholm, now facing backwards, cannot keep up with Martin, so Martin easily wins the race to the puck down in the corner. Meanwhile, you'll see Como coasting back a bit on the back check, so he actually loses position on Moore as they're coming in down to the slot. That causes Martin to just try and toss the puck out to the front of the net, and Como skidding in late is going to kick the puck off of his skate and directly in past Varley. So after 15 minutes of nearly perfect hockey, you make one mistake and it burns you. Man, sometimes hockey is just rough. From there, the Avs do get a power play shortly after to try and get revenge, but they totally flatline and do nothing with it, and Toronto takes over for the last few minutes of the period, putting on 5 more shots after the just 2 they had in all of the rest of it. And ultimately, you take the 1-1 tie into the first intermission, but you felt like you deserved better. The second period, the Leafs carried over that momentum they found in the last 5 and were really pushing hard early, leading the Avs to take a penalty just less than a minute into the period. Despite some quality chances from Matthews, the Avs managed to squeak by and kill it, but Toronto keeps pouring it on. The Avs basically just weather the storm for the first 10 minutes of the second, and then, much like Toronto's first goal, out of nowhere, the Avs pick one up. The Leafs apparently didn't learn their lesson on MacKinnon being fast off of the Avs' first goal. Zadorov's just going to throw this puck into the near corner here. And here's MacKinnon behind the red line at this point. It's going to be a race between him and Connor Brown here. Connor Brown has a pretty big head start at this point. As they move into the zone, MacKinnon does pick up a little bit of ground before they really start the race, but it's still a wide gap that MacKinnon closes immediately and beats Brown to the puck. Brown also does misplay it a little bit, not getting his stick out before MacKinnon's does, and ends up even falling over in the end. That gives MacKinnon just enough time to turn and find Rantanen creeping in from the half boards all the way down to below the hash marks. Rantanen, when he gets the puck from there, he knows where to go. Top cheesy, over Pickard easy. And the point streak lives for Mikko, now at 8 games. That includes 3 goals and 6 assists during that stretch. It's fun when you have more than one scoring threat on your top line. So just like that, the Avs get the lead back and they come alive, as it looks like Toronto might start to be petering out as they played the night before. But we're still the Avs, remember, so we're not allowed to keep 1-goal leads. Just 3.5 minutes after the 2-1 goal, Varley channels his inner Pickard and gives up a super softie. Not much to explain here. Polak has the puck on the far boards, and everyone knows he's a prolific goal scorer with a season high of 5 goals in his entire career. He's just going to skate it down into what should be an impossible angle on the goal line and throw it at the net. Inexplicably, it finds its way through Varley and into the back. Yeah, well, that happened. I'd probably be a lot more upset about that one if we ended up losing this game. And now the scales are balanced once again, so things even out through the rest of the second, and the Avs are probably lucky to be out of that period with a 2-2 tie. So one strong period, one not so strong period, and now there's only one period left to play. The third period starts off a bit slower than the first two for both teams. So what's the Avs' go-to plan? Well, just throw McKinnon out there with anybody and let him make stuff happen. And it pretty much works. Barberio does a good job to start the breakout with a cross-ice pass to McKinnon. McKinnon turns on the Jets as he does to take the blue line and get it in deep. As he's skating in deep, he's going to recognize that he's getting double-teamed here, and he's going to turn and find Zadorov coming in because of that. Zadorov has a ton of space here, and give him full credit for being patient, skating into that space not only before he has the puck, but afterward as well, and then showing great vision to find Kerfoot on the far side and just thread a needle to him. Got to give Kerfoot credit there too, as he makes a great reception on his backhand. He then has time to settle the puck, pick his spot, and just beat Pickard clean. Z's second point of the night and his 5th point in the last 6 games. He's really starting to find his stride offensively. If Z can develop some consistent offensive punch and be a close to 30-point guy for the Avs, along with his heavy hitting and defense, that is a huge boon for the Avalanche's top 4. When you can throw 5 guys on the ice at the same time that are all scoring threats, that's when other teams start to get scared. Alright, round number 3 for the Avs to try and hold a lead and take this game. 3 minutes after the goal, the Avs get a power play opportunity, a big chance to try and put this game out of reach. They don't do much with it. It was another one of those moments where, had the Avs ended up losing, you look back at that and would have gone, that's not great. After the Avs fail on the power play, Toronto turns it on, and man, do they come hard when they want to. But for the most part, I liked what I saw from the Avs. They didn't just go into a complete turtle. They were pushing back and trying to generate offensive opportunities of their own to counter Toronto. The Avs are holding it off as we get down into the last few minutes of the period, and Toronto pulls their goalie fairly early with more than 2 minutes left. And just like that, in a 6-on-5 situation, the Avs go down into a complete collapsing turtle, and they pay the price for it. Before the play even starts, we can see the Avs have 5 players down below their own hash marks. They currently do not have the puck, and they do not create a turnover despite all of them down so deep. The puck eventually gets worked out to the near point and over to the far point. From there, it's just going to be thrown on net, and you can see in front for the Avs, right now they have 3 players there, and Toronto has just 2. But the positioning is quite poor for the Avalanche. First, Barberio goes for a blocked shot here. He misses it. That takes him basically entirely out of the play as far as controlling the rebound is concerned. Beyond that, Zadorov doesn't seem aware of exactly who Barberio is covering. Barberio going for the block shot means he's not covering the man on his side of the ice, deep behind him right in front of Varley. So now Zadorov has to try and get over to that side to corral the rebound, but it's too late for him. It bounces off of Varley right to Van Riemsdyk. Van Riemsdyk just puts it in past him. The Avs really should have won this one in regulation, especially with the Herculean effort that McKinnon had put out. But they do make it to overtime and guarantee themselves a point. The first minute and a half of overtime was pretty slow, but McKinnon had one more gift to give the Avalanche. He takes a puck away cleanly from Ron Hainsey at his own blue line and chips it up into the neutral zone. As he starts to skate up towards it, Connor Brown cuts in front of him and they both go down to the ice and Brown gets called for interference. The Leafs were not particularly happy with this call, but in my biased opinion, That was interference. Brown knew it was coming at that point. He had already been burned by McKinnon's speed once that game, and if he hadn't cut in front of McKinnon and ended up going down to the ice with him, McKinnon was going to blow past him and be on a clean breakaway. One way or another, there's no take-backsies on that penalty, so the Avs get a power play 4-on-3 for the next 2 minutes of overtime. The Avs would put on some good pressure initially. McKinnon would ring a one-timer off the post for the 26th of those of the season. Then, as time starts to wind down in the power play, a secondary unit of JT Compher, Sam Girard, Alex Kerfoot, and Carl Soderberg would be the ones to get it done. 3 rookies out on the power play in overtime. Oh baby. The play starts with Compher just throwing a puck on net. Soderberg, directly in front, does a good job to get the rebound and head it back out to Sam Girard on the near side here. Girard is going to skate up towards the point and find Compher in the middle again. This time, Compher, with a little bit more time, is going to walk in before taking the shot. And I'm telling you, he's got a really good shot, and he's starting to find it. This one, he rifles past Pickard. That was a big goal for Compher, and while it feels like he gets a million quality chances and doesn't bury on a large number of them, he's currently on pace for 15 goals on the season, and that's perfectly respectable. It does feel like if he finds a little bit more, he could maybe even push that number to 20 or higher. So when you look at who had the points in this game, you're looking at the Avs trades, and you're thinking they did pretty good. JT Compher with the game-winning goal. Nikita Zadorov with 2 assists. That's the O'Reilly trade. Sam Girard with the primary assist on the game-winning goal for Compher. That's the Duchesne trade. And then you have the Kerfoot for Will Butcher, not a trade, but pseudo-trade free agency style. Kerfoot picks up a goal and an assist in this one. This is a big win for the Avs. Toronto's a top 10 team in the league right now, and the Avs proved that not only can they hang, but they can win. The perfect response proving that the loss to Arizona was the outlier and not the Avs playing well. That is the end of this game video review. If you want to check out this video from the other side of the glass, be sure to check out Steve Dangle's video. If you're watching me, I'm going to go ahead and assume you know who Steve Dangle is. He's kind of the OG of hockey vlogs on YouTube. I just find it interesting that you can see it from both sides. I'm Rudo3, and Dangle might have about 72,000 subscribers on me, but you know how many cups he's seen his team win?